Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Comics for All. Today is Tuesday, November 11th. So happy Veterans Day to all you American viewers out there. We're back for Comics for All. I'm your host, Jameson Rohr, a comics librarian. Today we have Xing from Phantom Blade Productions. Xing, thank you so much for taking part out of your day and your busy schedule to join us. Obviously, the first question I like to ask everybody that comes on the channel is, what got you into comics as a reader, and what got you into comics as a creator? And you're like, wow, I can actually pursue this.
Well, thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it. And it's nice to be able to meet you, I
Hmm.
guess, semi-personal, just digitally. I'm
Right.
not in person, but um, I mean, I growing up, I always enjoyed um, stories and fantasy, and always thought it was such a unique thing. And I grew up in a family that was culturally diverse. So half my family is Asian. And so I grew up in an environment that I was just used to seeing certain things.
Hmm.
And I always enjoyed art, and I enjoyed writing my own stories. And it's something really I just started doing as a kid. Just, I mean, really small, drawing and writing the stories next to the images, and then it's just something that I kept doing, um, and here we are today. It's been over 30 years of
Wow,
doing that.
that's impressive. And then this year, if you can share a comic, it can be a single issue, it could be a trade or anything like that, but something that's really stood out to you this year as a reader that you've read.
Um, that stood out to me. Well, I'm waiting for the first issue of The Void, which is a Chinese comic book.
Ooh.
Um, that's how I learned comic art storytelling, was from Chinese and Korean and Indonesian art experts, and that's how I was taught. So that's why my art style is like the way it is. It's not a
Hmm.
Western style by any means. So that I'm waiting to read, but it hasn't come out yet. I think it comes out in December.
Okay. So, kind of going into your origins and your inspirations as a creator, a writer, multimedia, everything. What inspired you to start Phantom Land Productions, and kind of how did the concept of that all come together?
Um, so I spent a really long time creating my my series and the world that it inhabits, and I tried to get it published through various publishers, some very well known, others that were smaller, and no one was interested. I couldn't get anyone to want to publish it. I got rejected 200 times by
Wow.
everybody except Marvel and DC, because they don't do that. And so I decided, well, I'll just do it myself. And so I started the company, and I already had decades worth of work that was there, that I had published over the years. The first copy I made and sold in front of a 7-Eleven in 1996. And it, black and white. Uh, I had to trim it myself, because back then there wasn't printing options like there are today. And old school comics is very much kind of like old school wrestling. It was one of those things where, unless you knew someone or you were related to somebody that was already in it, it was very hard to get in. And
Right.
so this is the first copy, and as you can see, it's old, it's tattered. I mean, you can see how badly it's trimmed. Um, but that's because I mean, at the time, that's what I had to work with. I didn't have any other options as to what I would do. So I made them, and I took them to school and sold them to people I went to school with and stuff. Um, and then with the company founding, with Phantom Blade Productions, and then I just went forward with putting my work out there, to do it the way that I believed it should be done, and that's all kind of how it happened.
Sounds like a beautiful, really organic story. Just you came up with it and you've ran with it for for this amount of time, and that's really impressive. Um, how do you decide, or kind of what inspirations of comics, films, or artists have had the biggest impact on your visual storytelling and just your branding?
Um, so I would say, huge fan of Igarashi, to Castlevania's fame. Um, Huge fan of Tetsuya Nomura, the keeper of all things Final Fantasy.
Hmm.
Hideo Kojima, um, Andy Sato, and other ones like that, who they they really experts, such experts at their craft, that anyone can keep learning from. And so I try to take away what can I learn from them always, and others and things, and then set it to my own aesthetic of how I like to tell stories and do design, and make things look. I really like my characters to be very detailed,
Hmm.
very very detailed, and so that's a theme of my artwork. And of course, the problem is that with now there's AI, and
Yes.
AI does all this stuff, and so I've had people be like, "Oh, well, how much of this did you generate?" And it's like, but it's not generated, because there are issues and articles I was published in, things that go back years, that show the same art style. So it's not that. It just, no one was paying attention to it really, because it was just aesthetically different. It wasn't like all these other things, but things have proven to work themselves out in ways that I'm very fortunate, and in ways that I never thought would happen.
Absolutely. And then you kind of touched on it a little bit, but can you kind of delve into the creative philosophy, excuse me, or process kind of behind Phantom Blade's projects that you put out?
So the all the stories take place in a world called Levi Summonos V, and that's the world where everything is inhabited, really. Symphonic Verses was the first project that I decided to release from that world, and all the stories are connected,
Hmm.
all of them, whether through uh, blood generation, characters, just time in itself, various events, things that happen. It's all kind of this one connected universe, but in this world. And I try to I try to tell the stories that from that world need to be told
Hmm.
to the best way that they can, where it almost is like it has a life of its own, and how you tell it. And I've spent many, many, many years creating all there. I have so many stories, but not all of them are out publicly. I've only revealed like a handful of them. But Symphonic Verses is the first main one, and its aesthetic is very much, if you enjoy things like Castlevania and Final Fantasy and Hamlet and Bram Stoker's Dracula, it exists in that kind of vein, but
Right.
it is unique to itself. It's not like the things that are. It's not like those things, but if you had to make it familiar with something, that's what you could, I guess, explain it that way.
It makes sense. And then kind of walking through now your creative process and producing titles and projects. Can you kind of give us a general walkthrough of what the typical workflow looks like for Frames and Blade Productions, from the concept or a nebulous idea to an actual like printed product in your hand?
That's kind of like, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I think about what I'd like to do with a series, and I'll spend a long time mulling over the design and the story and the characters and the dialogue, trying to make sure that it fits. It naturally fits the way it needs to in that world. And once I have that part, then I just keep refining it. And I mean, really, there's not really a secret. Like, there are no really secret techniques to things that way. It's just this continual refinement of what you do. You have to every day get up and you work on it. And but then once I've got it, and then the dialogue is there for the characters the right way, all the designs, then once I've storyboarded that whole issue, it gets drawn, then the details, the effects, all of that, the lettering, I make. And I know, because I had one editor tell me that you shouldn't have, word bubbles and narration bubbles that are too artsy, but I think that's exactly why you should do it, because it's not what people typically do that way. So I think, well, you should. And so this world needs to look like how it's supposed to look. It needs to have that exact look to it. And so I make these really unique word bubbles for all the really important characters. Everybody else, they just kind of get the standard ones, nothing special, but and then I print it, and this is, so I'm on the 16th graphic novel in this series, which is this one. This is book 16, and that came out this year in May, I think it was. And all the books, they're magazine size, so larger than a standard comic. It's like 8.75 by 11.25.
Got it.
Hardcover. And book 17, the prelude for it comes out next month, which is just 12 pages. And then the whole hardcover book comes out later next year. And it's, I think, 52 pages. I think so. I have to look. After a while, they all start running together, that way. So, but and then that's what I do to get the finished quality and make sure everything that you see looks correct, and that it is a very high standard of production, so that it matches the quality of the art and the storytelling. So the finished product, it's very important to have it, be something really unique too. So that's how, it just kind of, you just go from start to finish that way, but then you just keep repeating the process.
That's fair. And then kind of going off of into other formats and mediums, how do you decide when a story is a comic, is animation, or could be developed into television or whatever? How do you decide when and where you take those kind of other branches to other mediums or formats?
So it's funny. Originally, with Symphonic Verses, I just wanted to publish my book and thought, okay, I just want to put my book out and I hope that somebody would like it. I never set out to have all these other things happen, but they did, where just a bit of a backstory, so it puts the perspective in. I met a guy, he saw my artwork online one day, and he asked me what it was, and it was a picture of the main character, Prince Adonis, and he was holding one of his swords. And I didn't know who he was. I thought maybe he was like an art dealer or something, or something of that sort. And he said, "Well, I want you to call me Monday at exactly 3 p.m." And I thought, okay. And he was very insistent on that. He said 3 p.m. Call, do not be late. And I thought, okay. So I checked and made sure I had the right time zones. And I called right at 3. And he picks up and he's like, "Good, you called on time." He said, "I'm here. The board of directors are here. The president of the film company is here. You have 30 seconds. Pitch it to us." And I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought I'm being joked, because I thought, I can't even get publishers to publish it. But you're telling me that I'm on the phone with a film company's board of directors and the president of the film company. And so I go into it. I do my pitch. I do my 30-second pitch. And then they say, "Okay, hang on." And it's inaudible. I can hear them, but I can't hear what they're saying. And the president of the film company gets on the phone and he says, "Hey, Xing, liked your pitch. Let's turn it into a TV show." And I'll never forget this. I was holding my phone and I was like, "This is a joke, right? Like, I'm being punked really badly because this can't be happening. Like, this is impossible." And no, and it was all real, and they gave me the deal, and so now, and I had to tell that part so that answering that question would make sense, where now, because I already have all these stories, there are certain things that I feel would be better for animation than it would a comic. And so it's kind of up to the discretion of the film studio and myself to pick and choose which things we think would fit best as a narrative this way. But with Symphonic Verses being the first series, it's going to be an anime, and the trailer, I wrote and directed the trailer, but it was storyboarded in Japan, and I worked with really talented artists who worked at Square Enix, and the leader of that art team, she was one of the lead artists on Final Fantasy 14. So that tells you the caliber of what we're working with, and I had to show her what it is that I'd like to do, and she jumped right on board, and she knew a few other people, and then Two Steps from Hell, which are really famous composers. I mean, they've done everything from Harry Potter to X-Men to you name it. They're doing the music for the trailer, and so it was like, all of a sudden, all of these things that never in a million years that I think would ever happen or be possible became reality. And so now here it is, and the trailer's being worked on. I'm one of the executive producers on the show. I'm one of the lead writers on it. So it's like things had a really unique way of working out that I would have never thought. And then I was putting my books out. I don't use crowdfunding. I've sold over 12,000 copies of my series. No other sources to do it that way, like with the crowdfunding or things like that. And I started the toy division of the company, and actually I have the prototypes I brought to show you of
very cool.
The first two. So the figures are going to be 1/6 scale, so that they're big, and I always wanted that. I remember the older Final Fantasy 1/6 scale figures, and I always thought like that, or the old Fist of the North Star ones.
Yes, I've seen those.
I would love to have figures, like that. I never thought that would happen, but it did. So because they're so large, so I actually have, this is the the box that the figures will come in, and
Oh wow!
inside this box there will be two other boxes that will hold. One will hold the figure, and then one will hold the weapons and accessories and stuff like that. So, and it talks about the series. It has the picture of Adonis on the back as he's the main character. So that's the first figure that we're making. So this at the time, the 3D sculpt of his whole body wasn't finished. So I only had part of it for them to produce. And I'm like, I just want to see what part of it would look like. And so this is part of Adonis's body. It's not his whole body because at the time the sculpting wasn't done, but this is give you an idea of what it will look like.
Yeah, I love it.
And it will come with, interchangeable gauntlets, and he has such a really unique design. Is so much detail in his armor that I can't wait for people to see. The next one is one of the villains, and this we finished, and then I was able to get this one finished before we finished Adonis because we had to go back and fix things for articulation. But this is one of the villains. It's a Shadow Knight.
Wow.
This is Wraith Viper Shadow Knight, and this thing is almost 13 inches tall.
Wow.
It weighs like 6 pounds. I mean, it's heavy. It's not a light figure. They even made all of the interchangeable hands. So he'll come with 3 sets of hands, closed fists, ones for weapons. It has a form of articulation, but it's not like the final version, which will be fully articulated the right way for posability and stuff like that. But this is him. He has a cape. This is the cape that just hooks right in onto the figure.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So those are the things that are being worked on, and it's again, that's something I never thought I'd ever have a toy line,
No kidding.
Something that I made, and they're going to be sold at Walmart and like other online retailers and directly from the website. So that stuff is being worked on, and it all just kind of Phantom Blades. The company's entire theme really is it's about cutting edge with art and technology.
Mm-hmm.
That allows me to, I publish my books, creating the action figure line, all of the things that coincide with the brand that way, and now with the animation and the TV shows, and it really it's covering every scope of what you would need for an IP that way.
Right, and that actually goes really naturally into my next question is, can you share a couple tools that you use, either physical, digital, whatever it may be, but that you rely on and they're kind of like go-tos in your day-to-day work?
Photoshop. Sometimes, like, I just will take a piece of paper and just sketch an idea on it for something. Sometimes right on my phone, I have the sketching app on my phone. Oh my gosh, my brain is drawing a blank, and I can't even remember what it's called, but it's on my phone, and I use that, and then I'll email it to myself, and then just I just work in Photoshop and just get everything done, and then compress the file after it. I make a copy of it, of all the layers. That one I keep in storage, but the one I keep on this tower, then I compress it so that it doesn't take up as much space, and then I letter it, and then I go on to the next one.
That's fantastic. This is actually a really good question that I've only got to ask a couple people so far, but when you have a setback or writer's block or anything of that nature, how do you handle those?
I mean, so let's say setbacks.
Mm-hmm.
A setback can be anything from a production setback to um, rejection from publishers, all of these things. I can tell you with firsthand experience, if you really, really love what you do, you're going to take the hits because they're going to come.
Yep.
The hits, the failures, the disappointments, the setbacks, the you name it, it will happen. But you either say, okay, that happened, but this is still what I love and I want to keep pursuing it, or if you give up, then you really didn't want it. You really didn't, and I've met people who they're like, well, I've been doing this for 6 years and I should be here. Time is not relevant that way. It doesn't matter whether you've been doing it 6 years. I've been doing it over 30 years, but that's not the point. That's not what it's about. You have to just keep going forward. You have to pick yourself up and keep going forward. Now, if it's a drawing issue, that is just a skill that's developed over time. I encourage anyone who's an artist. You want to draw, you have to draw every day. You have to sketch, you have to do something, you have to do it every day. You have to be relentless. Your determination has to be like iron. It has to be unbendable. Because if not, you'll break under the pressure of trying to think, oh, well, if I just do this, this way, I'll be successful. No, there is no blueprint for this is how you become successful. It's not. All you can do is work at it every single day, and that's what you have to do. So when those things happen, if you're having writer block, take a break, exercise, walk around, step away for the rest of the day. That's okay. But to give up entirely, no. If you give up, then you don't want it.
Well, this has come up a couple times now in conversations I've had where just your overall health and wellness plays a huge part in what you can do.
Yeah.
So taking care of yourself, drinking water, going on just walks outside, doing the daily things that your body needs to thrive.
Right, exactly. You can't. I mean, I can tell you, I've spent days where I've been here and hours have gone by where I haven't eaten, and so you have to make sure you don't let those become bad habits that can sink you. So you get up, I work a little bit, then I get up, I walk around, I drink water, I make sure I'll try to make sure I take enough of a break to actually eat. Sometimes I eat just a granola bar while I'm in here, but you got to do something for yourself that way. You can't just do this 24/7 without taking care of the other stuff. You'll burn out and then you'll be done.
And then kind of you touched on it a little bit, but can you highlight a specific challenge or difficulty that the studio has had and how you overcame it and kind of what did you learn from it?
I mean, I feel like everything is a challenge, all of it. There's no...
Every day is a challenge.
Every day is a challenge. I mean, it's business. That's the thing about it is it fluctuates from one day to the next. Like there are days where I have sales coming in, just pouring into the website. Then I have eras where sales are like crickets. You're just like, none today, maybe tomorrow. But, you keep putting it out there, trying to get the company in a position to be seen within the industry. That is difficult.
Right.
That's difficult, especially because although, my company is small, it's myself. I do the creating, the writing, the art, the design. I do all of that, the publishing. That's all I do. Now, the toy development, I don't make the toys. I don't know how to do that. I had to go to people who do that. And I don't do 3D sculpting. So I had to find people who could do that. So the team in the toy development is made up of a couple of us, where I do all the designs for the characters, and they actually build the 3D sculpts, and then a team of two that produces the figures. But that really is what makes up that part of the company. And even though my company is small, I think about the impact that it's had, that it's gotten. So the actress from The Handmaid's Tale, she's bought all the books that I've published. I've been able to share my work with Santa Monica Studio. Now, we're talking people who produce one of the most famous game IPs in the world, God of War.
Yep.
I've been able to share it with Konami, with Blizzard Entertainment. The accolades that my work has received from people who are juggernauts in the industry.
Absolutely.
So, so when you put that into perspective, and it's not because it's not because I'm like, oh, and I did it. No, look, I'm just a guy who I just created it. People believing in it is what turns it into something else. That's what alters that perception of it. But I think about how all the rejection, all the things that didn't work, but now the fact that famous Hollywood actors and actresses are like, oh, yeah, I'm going to buy that, and I love it. I can't wait for the next part. Screen Rant featured me last year. They did a whole article on me and said I had the best indie comic that you haven't read yet.
I believe I remember seeing that, actually. Yep.
So it's like all of a sudden, all of these parts are working, and people are realizing, oh, this is what he's been doing the whole time. The things I do today, this is what I was doing 20 years ago. This is what I was doing at 30 years ago. It's the same thing. It may look different, but the story is the same thing. It's the same, trying to deliver that kind of quality. So these are things that had to be, if I didn't overcome the challenges that had presented themselves, those other things probably wouldn't have happened. But
Good
now, I think about Jim Valentino from Image Comics. He messaged me one day, and I saved the email. I screen captured it, and I saved it as a JPEG. He said, even though Image had rejected my series, he said, you have achieved things that most pros in this industry would give their eye and teeth for. And so that was one of those hallmark moments where it's like, okay, I have someone who is got that kind of reputation and at that level of the industry, but he's telling me I've already achieved the things that most of them want to, but
right.
haven't. And so every day, I'm very grateful, and I appreciate where I'm at. I appreciate the things that I do have. And yet there are still challenges. There are still giants to slay. That doesn't mean victory is absolute. That'd be nice, but that's not the case.
And actually, a nice natural progression to my next question, especially when you get to this kind of level of exposure. How do you balance fan expectations with your own artistic that you want to continue in creative and grow and hone your craft?
I think for fan expectation, if you keep giving them the same quality you gave them in the beginning, but you keep increasing it, they'll keep asking for more. They'll continue to believe in what you're doing.
Right.
And that's really what it's about. It's my comment earlier about the fans turn it into something. See, I think sometimes people get lost on that, because it's not about, at the end of the day, yes, I will always be the creator of this company and these characters and these stories. They're mine. I made them up. I had to create them and develop them. It's almost like having a kid. I don't have kids, but it's like you take care of it until it matures, where then you publish it. So now it's a life of its own that way. And so when you do that, you remember it's because they took the time to invest in what you're doing, to believe in you, and that's what matters. So you keep giving them that quality, you keep giving them that same respect and appreciation, that you share these moments with them, and it makes all the difference in the world. It really does.
Absolutely. And then that's actually another natural progression here. What advice, kind of on top of that, would you give to new creators trying to start their own studios, in a sense, or starting their own indie publishing company?
I mean, make sure that you do your homework, in the sense of don't get caught up in the perception of things. So online, there can be this perception that this group of people, they have all these fans and they do this and they do that, and if I do just that, then it will work. That's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do this, one, you need to make sure you understand the vision that you have. You need to make sure that you understand the why you're doing it in the story, why the characters are doing it. What is the point of all of this? Right. You have to really know your story. If you're the artist, keep refining your craft. Never be satisfied with where you're at. Never think that, all right, I've done enough. No, you have to keep practicing every day, learning every day. If you're a writer, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then go into it, and don't set your expectations on top of a mountain. Go in and just do one thing at a time. Growth will come. There's going to be little wins. There's going to be a whole lot of losses and a whole lot of setbacks. So prepare yourself for that, because again, no matter what you do, what industry you're in, there is always failure. Mm-hmm. The key is what you do to overcome it. So those are things to really just keep in mind. Keep your head down, stay humble, keep learning, but understand what it is you want to do and why you want to do it. And then learn from true experts. Yes. Don't learn from people who, just because they're popular online, that doesn't mean anything. That's irrelevant. Learn from people who really have something established, and take away from that what you need to learn, and then develop your own way of doing things. Don't just look at, oh, I saw this person, they posted something and 500 people liked it. Okay, but 500 likes doesn't equal 500 sales. That doesn't equal actual products being moved. Yes. So that's the key. That's where you have to turn it into, what can you do to turn this idea into a revolving door of commerce. It's not easy when it comes to arts, especially as you're building. I understand crowdfunding. I get the point of it. Use that if that will help you get started. But then you have to look at the real juggernauts who really have succeeded, and that's where you learn from. That's the stuff you take away to improve on what you're doing.
That's right. And you kind of touched on it too, and kind of a near future question. Where do you see kind of the indie and just the comics scene in general in the next 5 years, and where do you see kind of Phantom Blade growing in these next 5-year window?
I mean, I think it will just keep expanding. There's 5 years from now, there's a kid right now who's 14, 15, who's wanting to make their comic, and in 5 years, when they're 19, 20, they could be at the forefront of what is the next thing. I mean, that's just how industries are. As far as myself, I mean, my objective is, I want to keep producing my series as long as I can. I don't, I mean, at a certain point, I'll probably have someone else draw it. Because as you get older, it just gets harder to do certain things. And as you can see, it's, but my hope is just to continue creating the content that I'm creating and building the things that I'm building, and hopefully someone can be inspired by the things that I've had to go through, and that can help them build their own brand and see it come to fruition, then that's great too. But I just want to keep making my stuff and hope that I keep creating things that people will still enjoy.
Absolutely. What was that? I had a follow-up question. Nope, I think I lost it. Nope. Oh, no, my follow-up was, especially for like upcoming projects, can you share, if you can, share as much as you can about stuff that's coming out in the next 6 to 12 months?
Book 7, well, like I said, the prelude to book 17 comes out next month, and then book 17 comes out next year. A good portion of book 18 is already done.
Nice.
And I've already drawn the cover to it, and I've got a handful of the pages done. The toys, getting those finished, and getting the trailer finished for the TV show, and getting it on the streaming platforms is,
Yes.
that's where I'm. It right now, it's like those are the main things that I'm between the figures and the television show, and it's fun because this, I can at least say, I can't get into the details of it, but I can say this: there is an old anime that for like 30 years I've been obsessed with, and one of the voice actors who's in that, I got to meet him, and he's going to be working with me on the show as one of the characters. So that is kind of a full circle moment for me, where
Absolutely.
it's like something from way back, and then to see those realities kind of touching each other now in the present, that has been really a rewarding experience. And I'm so grateful that, because he could have just looked at it and been like, yeah, no, I'm not into this, but he is like, oh yeah, I am in. So yes. That's a positive thing. That's a very, very positive thing, and I'm really happy about that.
And then, kind of to close us out, where can people or viewers online, can they find Phantom Blade online? And do you have any upcoming appearances in 2026 where anyone can meet you in person?
So where they can find me, the series is Symphonic Verses. So if you type in Phantom Blade Productions or Symphonic Verses, which is XIMPHONICVERSUS, it all comes up on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, the website with the official store, and I'm on those, so people can message me anytime, and I will get back to you. As far as appearances, I believe there's one later this month in November at Neon Mermaid Comics, and then March at it's the anime. Oh my gosh, it's an anime con in out here on the East Coast.
The Anime New York City?
No, it's down here in New Jersey. I will have to post. I can't. My brain. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Right.
But so that will be in March, and then if I do other shows, I'll post about it. I don't do a lot of them solely because of just the amount of work that is between everything. It's just so much.
Well, and just the physical cost at this point to table at a convention is just astronomical.
Oh yeah, that's well, kind of a plus side. I do get comped tables, so that's that I always appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
Because I spent years doing shows, traveling to different. I did that. I did all that stuff. I've been there and done it, and now I'm kind of like I just work from home and get it done and you know if I can do a show here or there, I'll do it. But beyond that, I don't do them as much as I used to.
better way to keep your sanity.
Oh, that man, I'm tired. I'm not 20 anymore. Can't do that.
That's right.
It's a lot of work.
Well, my last question to close this out is kind of an oddball question, but do you have a favorite snack or a meal? You kind of touched on granola, so that may be the answer. But when you're working on a project and you need to sit down for a couple hours, and what's your favorite food to go to?
I love Chinese food,
Oh yeah,
and so many things that are so good, and it's just like I love Chinese food. I love mac and cheese. Um, I love corn from like Texas Roadhouse. That's like it's got like butter and salt and pepper, and it's just it's just good. It's like corn is one of those things I could eat all the time. It's
same.
just delicious. It's just so good. Um, yeah, I mean that's kind of the stuff I like that way.
Excellent. Well, Xing, thank you so much again for taking some time out of your busy schedule today. It's been a wonderful conversation.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on and letting me, share the stuff that's being worked on and if people who see it aren't familiar, I my books you can get them from me, but you can also get them from my distributor, which is Philbo Distribution.
Yes.
So
I plan on having Philbo on at some point.
oh, awesome! Phil is such a great guy, really, really great guy, and I'm really happy to be working with him. And he really is trying to help the industry
Yes.
and help creators. So he's doing it, and I'm glad to be working with him to get that done.
That's right.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. So thanks a lot.
Absolutely. I'm glad you were able to join us today. And everybody out there, thank you so much for. I know we had a couple actually viewers this entire time, which is really cool. Thank you for joining Comics for All today, where comics, creativity, and community all connect. I think we've had a wonderful representation of all that today. So, once again, wherever you have been joining us, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. All right, we're all done.